Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. It's Tuesday, October 3rd. Pack show planned for you guys. Sorry for a little bit of a delay start there, but Woodward and Maine just got wrapped up. You can check that out on the YouTube channel. But for today, boys, we got a pack show. Sam Flannel alongside me, my partner in crime as always, JB.
Zoomed in, Flannel, huh?
Look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah, make him look. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right.
Closer.
We got JB in the audio booth holding it down for us as usual. He's got the Motown Monty shirt on after Pistons Media Day.
I like that.
I love it. Very timely, JB. Very timely.
Gotta represent.
You gotta represent. And Lucas Klotz, the man, the myth, the legend, in the audio booth, or in the TD booth, rather, holding it down for us. Guys, we got a lot planned for you today. It's Top 10 Tuesday, so we'll go through our top 10 NFL teams. We'll see where the Lions shape up on that list. And, of course, you know how this works. After we give our top 10 lists, Lucas is going to critique our list and give his top 10. The ball knower, self-proclaimed, but it is what it is. We'll get to that in the second hour, but for right now, guys, I want to focus on a couple things, kind of updates from the Detroit Lions, and then we'll discuss a little of what we saw last night for the Monday Night Football game. First thing I got to bring up, Lions got a bump flex. Surprise. Lions versus Buccaneers moved to 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, October 15th. They were supposed to play at 1 o'clock, but guess what? You're not a 1 o'clock team anymore.
No, sir. Neither is Baker Mayfield. Those Buccaneers.
Well, when you say that, it kind of like takes the air out of it. But regardless, you are right. The Buccaneers are not that team anymore, at least of right now. They're 3-1. Lions are 3-1. They bumped the Detroit Lions to 4:25. This is significant, right? I mean, the Lions typically, at least in my lifetime, for the most part, and especially the last couple of years, you just accept they're going to be on at 1 o'clock. There's nothing you could do about it. You could cry all you want. You're on at 1 o'clock. Sam Flannel, multiple primetime games, and now you get a bump to 4:25. It's a new era in Detroit Lions football.
Absolutely. Hey, two out of our first 4 games have been primetime, and now you look at 3 out of their first 6 not being at 1 o'clock. And I'll be honest, it's really nice that they get to play at 4:25, but who would have thought before the season that the Lions and the Buccaneers might be battling for the 3 seed?
Nobody.
For the 3 seed in the NFC at this point in the season. So, as much as we're happy about the Lions kind of getting their recognition and getting to play on 4:25, if the Buccaneers were 1-3 or 0-4 or even 2-2, it probably wouldn't happen.
Right.
It's a big game all of a sudden, which is not something I was really anticipating before the year. I was just to dismiss Baker Mayfield as trash, but he's actually playing pretty well, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, I mean, he's having technically a career year. He has his best completion percentage of his entire career. I mean, that's significant. And for the Lions and Bucs, they're both teams that lead their division. So, 2 teams that are battling to win their division, and this is where we're at. The Buccaneers are leading that division.
What is going? Does that speak to Baker Mayfield, or does that speak to how bad the NFC South is?
But I think both 2 things can be true in that instance. I think the Buccaneers deserve credit. I mean, they're a pretty good football team. They're a good roster. Right. Baker's just not ruining it for him. You know, his job is just to not mess it up, and he's doing a good job of that. But when you do things, when you tell Baker just don't mess it up, it means you're in a bad division. Like, it's not like he has to be Superman to win the division. And the Saints, too, with Derek Carr's injury. It's kind of they were the team, and then that kind of delayed the process.
That was wild that they started him against them. Had a shoulder injury literally last week.
And just checked down.
To his throwing shoulder.
Dude, he just threw checkdowns for 4 quarters, and, like, that was it. Like, he shouldn't even have played.
Alvin Kamara, who I was playing against in fantasy.
Oh, you were playing against him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Maz almost get this.
Damn.
I had Darren Waller last night. He had Matt Breida, and I was winning by like 18. I won by like 4 points. Matt Breida almost dropped a bomb on me, made me lose to Maz, but we came out the dub.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Congratulations. Maz took the L?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Speaking of Baker Mayfield, he loves Baker Mayfield.
I love Maz, and he loves Baker too. So hey, come back to bite him in the ass a little bit. But I want to bring up the game last night. I'm glad you kind of good pivot there. Danny Dimes. And I got a buddy who actually is from Connecticut, good friend of mine. He's a big Giants fan. He went to the game last night, and the Danny Dimes debacle. I mean, ever since he got into the league, even my friend, and we'll just call his name Soli. That's what I call him. So Soli, he's a big Giants fan, and even when Daniel Dimes first got there, his rookie year was actually pretty impressive. 24 touchdowns, 13 picks. They looked like they had a quarterback. This man got paid $40 million for 4 years, 4 for 160, throwing 15 touchdown passes last year. He threw 15 touchdown passes, and he got paid. And the man who is responsible, I would say, give him more credit for what the Giants did last year, got a 1-year extension in Saquon Barkley. This is where we're at right now in the NFL. That man, Daniel Dimes, did not look like a $40 million quarterback last night. Like, you could talk about the completion percentage all you want. The first pick was already bad enough. The second one was essentially, and I don't want to say it's all on Daniel Dimes, because I'll bring this up too after I'm done here, but the second pick was even worse. Also, his offensive line allowed 10 sacks. So, again, we're going back to Neil Rulli here. Both things can be true, but Daniel Dimes had some boneheaded decisions. But again, his offensive line did not help him. I will give him that.
No, that is 100% true.
Because that defense was playing their ass off. Even Kayvon Thibodeau decided to show up. And when he does that, it's like lightning striking.
Yeah.
You got to capitalize when Kayvon Thibodeau shows up, and they still didn't.
Yeah, speaking of people who actually showed up and played a hell of a game, credit where credit is due to Kayvon Thibodeau. As I've said many times in the past, he is a good football player, and he does have those flashes. It's just early on in the season, he wasn't playing very well. I'm still really, really happy we have Aiden Hutchinson instead. But anywho, that's not the point of this discussion. It's about Daniel Jones. And it's funny, after the season that he had last year, his breakout year in which he had 15 touchdown passes, all I ever hear about is, oh my God, but he's running the football effectively. He's playing within the Brian Daboll offense. And Saquon Barkley obviously had a career year last year as well, which I think greatly helped Daniel Jones this season. But the reality is that without Saquon Barkley, who's been hurt for a lot of the season and kind of trying to do too much, Daniel Jones, he is only good when he's basically got a training wheels level grasp of a Brian Daboll offense. And when he's asked to do too much, he sucks. He sucks. And now they paid him, and now it's going to take up so much of the cap that they're not going to be able to supplement the roster as much as they would have before. And honestly, there were a lot of people last year that were kind of like, oh, Daniel Jones, he's not that bad. He's okay. $40 million. That's market value. Everybody's favorite word, market value. No, Daniel Jones is terrible.
Now
and I get it.
Below market value.
Absolutely. And his offensive line didn't do him any favors.
They did not.
But that pick six that he threw to Devon Witherspoon at the goal, they would have been in that game if he would have just capitalized. If they would have just got a field goal, it's a one-score game. But nope, that was the backbreaker. All Daniel Jones' fault.
You're spot on. It was what was it, 3-14? If they would have scored, it would have been 10-14. It would have been a one-score game. Daniel Jones is not a $40 million quarterback.
No.
He's acting like a $40 million quarterback. Call him Daniel Day-Lewis. How about that? Hell of an actor. But he's not a $40 million quarterback, Lucas. Hey, you like that? Devon Witherspoon, though.
He looked like a
He's that guy.
He's that guy. You know what? And I know it's only been a couple games. He's that guy. Devon Witherspoon's going to be special.
He did.
He
Yeah.
is. 2 sacks, a pick.
6 tackles,
pick
2
six.
sacks, pick 6, and he even had a couple pass deflections too. I mean, he's been, even last week he was balling out. I know he looked kind of shaky against the Lions. He let up that flea flicker touchdown against Khalif, but that guy was definitely going to be a good pick, and I definitely still think that's who Brad wanted at 6, but he wasn't there. And for all the people, and I saw a tweet, and I don't want to give credit to who actually said this, and I forgot the specific person on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and they put this out. But essentially it was, for all those Lions fans that were scared to draft a corner, that's who you would have gotten at 6. And they ended up trading back anyway. But Devon Witherspoon, like, Kirby Joseph was hyping him up like a ton. And he was right. Boy, he was right. We got to see him at least his first game ever in the NFL against the Detroit Lions. He looked pretty good. And now he just seems to be getting more comfortable. I mean, 2 sacks and a pick 6. Yeah, that's worth every penny.
Yeah, 2 sacks and a pick 6. That's the type of game that will elevate you when it comes to the Defensive Rookie of the Year race. Because we all know, and this isn't a shot at Brian Branch, Brian Branch has been absolutely phenomenal. He's had a game in which he had 11 solo tackles, 3 for loss, and 2 pass deflections, in a separate game where he had a pick 6. But 2 sacks and a pick 6 in the same game as a defensive back, that's some Defensive Player of the Year type shit right there.
Yeah.
Am I saying he's going to be able to replicate that even once this season? Absolutely Absolutely not. But Devon Witherspoon, I mean, the Seahawks, they're looking like they're pretty happy with their picks so far, even though drafting a corner in the top 5 is usually kind of a no-go zone for a lot of teams. But Devon Witherspoon, he looks like a dude right now.
Yeah, and for people that are saying Branch or Witherspoon, I'll give you one hint. One of them was taken at 45. How
Fair.
about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll take Brian Branch, B2 bomber.
And when you
Brian
look
Branch,
back,
and he's better, I think. But
when you
continue.
look back at this draft, Brian Branch is going to be a guy where like, how did he not
Yeah,
go top 10?
I said it. I think he'll be the steal of the draft. I think, like when you look back in 5 years, and I'm gonna be consistent on that because I believe it's true. Speaking of defensive rookie of the year, you brought it up for Devon Witherspoon. Let's talk about that at 8:30. Brian Branch, his defensive rookie of the year chances. I do because yesterday I kind of did the breakdown comparing Cam Sutton to other corners. Well, I'm going to compare Brian Branch to some of the best safeties in the NFL their rookie seasons. So I want to see how he's trending, and we'll get into all that at 8:30 in a couple of minutes here. Penei Sewell made a list. Who's surprised? And we're going to go through that list and discuss Penei and this offensive line. 8:45, I got a question for everybody and everybody in this room. Which coordinator has been more impressive to you this season? We'll answer that question at 8:45 and then 9 o'clock. We'll get into some Panthers. I thought it'd be time. I mean, it's Tuesday. It's early, but I do want to start breaking down the Panthers a little bit. And the question is, should the Lions be sleeping on the Panthers? They're winless, but are they a true winless team? Are there things to be weary of? And then, of course, like I said, in the second hour, we'll get into our top 10 teams, and then the usual towards the end of the show. Appreciate everyone for joining. John Macaroon says, Jeff's assistants bring him lotion. No, that is not true. Nelvin says, prior to this week, a lot of power rankings have the Lions over Seattle. Not sure why. Well, a lot of it, to me, it depends on, like, the win. Like, for example, the Seahawks barely scraped by the Panthers a week ago. Like, even though they beat the Lions, I don't know. That doesn't just because you beat the Lions doesn't mean you're in front of them. It's all, I guess, it's all subjective how you value power rankings. But I get it. And I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
You'll see our top 10 list. Jake says, could you imagine if we got Spoon and Branch? Secondary would be ridiculous. You wouldn't even need Emmanuel Mosley, in my opinion. John Macaroon says, is Daniel Jones Jared Goff if he played in Detroit? No.
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 No. No. No. Another no. Like, I'm sorry, John. I can't get with that one.
Especially that read that on that Witherspoon.
That was a
pick
bonehead
6.
read.
Like, that's like rookie year Zach Wilson shit. Like, just it's clear as day that you have 3 defenders on the goal line. You have Darren Waller running a corner, but you throw it to the goal line, and then you have a rookie house calling, and then it's game over. That's just like that's literally rookie mistakes.
And he got like shook. Like Devon Witherspoon juked him out and like broke his ankles just to make it worse, like to add insult to injury. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll bring up Penei Sewell, and you'll get to see what kind of list he made because it is impressive, man. He just keeps surprising me by the day, Penei Sewell. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Lady Jane's.
Absolutely. Come to any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut, and they give me an award-winning haircut every single time, and you should go get one too. Open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests, for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
me tell you about our friends over at 5 Iron Golf. Whether you're like me and you stink, or you're like Braylon Edwards and you're way better. 5 Iron Golf has everything you need. You play, practice, and party the way you want. You go down there, they got the golf simulators, they got lessons, leagues. Of course, they got a bar and restaurant, which you can check out with your family and friends, or maybe a female or male if you're a female. Go down there, check it out. Our friends over at 5 Iron Golf. Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Plenty more to get into. Thank you guys for sticking around. If you could do me a favor, hit the like button on the stream. It supports us, supports the network, helps the algorithm. Let's move to Penei Sewell now, because I think he deserves more flowers. I do. Throw up the graphic. Look at this man. Fewest pressures allowed in the NFL. Tristan Wirfs, who is an All-Pro. Penei Sewell, about to be an All-Pro. And then Trent Williams, an All-Pro.
Hall of Famer.
And Hall of Famer. Thank you. Now, you know what when I first saw this list, you know what I thought to myself? And this is among offensive tackles, a minimum of 100 pass blocking snaps. You know what I thought about?
What'd you think about?
Out of these three tackles, elite tackles, which one of them has played left and right this season?
I mean, Penei.
Ooh. What about Tristan Wirfs?
No.
What about Trent Williams? Has he played left and right?
I don't believe so.
So you're telling me this guy, who's a left tackle, he was a left tackle his entire life. He might have played a little right, but he's a left tackle. Went to college at Oregon, played left tackle. Came to the NFL, got moved to right tackle, and then got moved back to left tackle, and then got moved back to right tackle. And he's elite. And he's 22 years old. This is, guys, and I know when Neil Rule says the whole Hall of Fame spiel, like, it's funny, like, you know, I get it. But he's right. Like, Penei Sewell is going to be a multi-time All-Pro. Like Tristan Wirfs has already established himself in the league, and Trent Williams, of course, has set a legacy for himself for quite some time. I think Penei Sewell is kind of on that Trent Williams trajectory, where he's going to have multiple All-Pros, and he's going to be a 10, 12, 15-year starter and play at a high level for the Detroit Lions. You found a foundational piece of your football team. You know how many NFL teams? The Giants would love Penei Sewell. You see last night? They would have loved Penei Sewell.
See how bad Evan Neal is now?
Evan Neal blows.
He blows. Yeah, and thank you for that, Sam. Because you know what? Drafting offensive tackles isn't always just all said and done. Like, you take Evan Neal, he's pretty solid at Alabama. He isn't just elite. Like, to find a Penei Sewell is rare. Like a Tristan Wirfs, a Trent Williams, to be an elite tackle. Even other notable tackles, Rashawn Slater, another one that I like, who came out in the same draft class as Penei. But Penei Sewell is that guy. And at his age, he's young, he still has a ton of football left, and Sam Flannel, the guy's elite on both sides. He played actually well, came out and said, I played like garbage at left tackle. And everyone's like, what? Like, you actually played well. But to him, it's like, ain't good enough. That dude, I hope he's aligned for life.
Yeah, I mean, with Penei Sewell, I'll be honest. I have been one of the people that have pushed back a little bit at just putting him in the Hall of Fame after his rookie season. But I will say this, going into this year, one thing that I said, and I got some pushback for this, but I think I was right, is that Penei Sewell needed to improve his pass blocking. Because when you look at his pass blocking compared to other elite tackles in the league, it was at the bottom tier. He was still a damn good player. He was still a Pro Bowler last year, but he needed to improve that pass blocking, and that is exactly what he did. When you look at his PFF grade this year, and when it comes to pass blocking, this year 82.6, last year 74.2, his rookie season 69.4. And what's even more impressive is that he's only allowed 2 pressures, and he hasn't allowed a sack or a quarterback hit. Where last year Penei Sewell allowed 28 pressures, 2 sacks, and 6 quarterback hits, while also committing 10 penalties. And in 2021, 35 pressures, 5 sacks allowed, 8 hits allowed, and 11 penalties. And this season, even though those numbers last year, they don't sound as good, he was still an elite tackle. But this year, he is on pace to only allow 9 pressures, 0 sacks, 0 hits, and 13 penalties. So Penei Sewell, he's taking that leap, I think, into becoming in consideration for the All-Pro when the season is all said and done. And you mentioned it before, he has played both left tackle and right tackle. And something that I've said before the season is that Penei Sewell would be the best left tackle on your team, and he would be the best right tackle on your team. So when Taylor Decker got hurt and Penei Sewell had to move over to left tackle, it was a no-brainer. The only thing we were worried about is who was going to fill in at right tackle. So Penei Sewell, he is taking the next step into being that multi-time All-Pro, being that maybe that gold jacket guy that people like to say, and he's one of the foundational pieces of this team. So I'm happy to see that he has taken the pass blocking seriously. He's worked in his craft, and he has greatly improved at it on an already Pro Bowl level player.
Yeah, and one thing I at least, and this doesn't always apply to football because it's a different sport, but in basketball, when I look at a player, this is what attracted me about Ivy, Asar, Cade. Like, who are you when your shot's not falling?
Yeah.
I asked that question about Penei. Like, but take away what he does on the football field. Who is he? He's a leader. He doesn't take shit from anybody, which is, it seems like that's the mentality of this entire team.
Shout out
like,
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I was going to say, it goes back to his rookie year with Aaron Donald, and I know Sam would probably cringe at that because people take that moment like Neil Roll and make it like, that's what defined his entire career.
Yeah.
But to me, that set a tone for him. Like, as a rookie, not taking crap from arguably the greatest defensive player to ever exist, I think that means something. Now, does it put him in the Hall of Fame and get his jacket? No. But Penei Sewell, besides what he does on the field, which is be elite at a young age of 22 years old, the mentality in which he approaches the game, Lucas, I know you love throwing around the word dog. That's a dog.
That is a dog.
Unquestioned.
That's a pit bull. That's a pit bull right there. That's a Rottweiler. Penei Sewell, when Brad Holmes took Penei Sewell, I knew that this rebuild was going to be in the right direction because they could have had we talked about it the other day. They could have had Justin Fields. Everybody, there was a moment where it's like, go get a quarterback, go get this, go get a flashy playmaker. No. They took the lineman, and then what they do, that was after they took Frank Ragnow. Then they took another lineman in Jonah Jackson. And they just rebuilt that offensive line slowly and surely. And now when you have that cornerstone on the edge, think about the Eagles with Lane Johnson. Think about the 49ers with Trent Williams. The Lions are going to have that for years and years to come. No matter who that quarterback is behind Penei Sewell, he's going to be protected, and it's going to keep the Lions team in a better situation than they would have been for years and years and years if they never took him. So just the fact that they have Penei Sewell means that they are going to be in a stable ground for the next 4 or 5 years. Like, they can just be able to afford an offensive luxury at any point because they don't have to address the tackle position.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I mean, you talk about whoever your quarterback is. Like, and this is the thing about the NFL, right? Like, that could be the difference, your offensive line, between your quarterback having success and not having success. We saw that. We saw it with Stafford. We saw it with Stafford last year with the Rams. We've seen it with Daniel Jones throughout his career with the Giants. And they still can't build an offensive line. Like, it's hard. Like people think you could just snap your finger and you got an elite offensive line. Like, it takes time. And to Lucas's point, they've been building this thing. Even with Bob Quinn, they've been building this thing. Like, yeah, talk all you want about Bob Quinn. The guy can draft offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's true. Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow. Like, he found those guys. So even Vitae he traded for, I'm pretty sure. But regardless, doesn't matter. Penei Sewell, and I want to read some of these comments too because people are kind of commenting on it. But before I do, the benefit of having a great offensive line is no matter who's at quarterback, Jared Goff, and how well he's playing, it feels nice to be protected. Like, it feels nice to have the time in the pocket to throw and get the ball out. Like, Daniel Dimes, that's what they call him, last night had opportunities, had guys open, but he had defensive linemen in his face.
He was terrified the whole game.
Like, that could be the difference. And the Lions have a great offensive line, no matter who's behind quarterback. Jared Goff, or if God forbid anything happens to Jared Goff and Teddy Bridgewater has to come in, you're going to be protected. Like, that's the benefit of having an offensive line like this. You don't need Jared Goff to go out there and be Superman. Like, he's in a clean pocket. And the run game, not even speak on the run game.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who's running back there, they're going to have success. Like, thank gosh you have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. But we saw Craig Reynolds go for 100 yards with this offensive line. Eric Allen says, let's see. I'm sorry, this comment too. I'm gonna read this one. David Brewer, not saying he's not worth an All-Pro. I just think voters already have their mind made up who's the best tackles. And yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with that. But again, maybe there's truth to that. You know who's going to make it every single year. But I think Penei Sewell, people recognize it. Like, he's up and coming. And I feel like every Lions game you watch, Penei Sewell sticks out. It's just how it is.
Yeah, and I don't really like that mindset, especially now in modern football when you have more advanced metrics, when you can see how many pressures that you allowed or sacks you allowed or quarterback hits you allowed, and you have grades when it comes to run blocking and pass blocking. I don't think the NFL has really gotten it wrong a whole lot over the last couple of years. When you talk about best left tackle, you talk about best right tackle, you talk about Trent Williams, and you talk about Lane Johnson.
100%.
It's not like you should have put Penei Sewell over them in 2022 or anything like that.
No.
And that's where I kind of push back on Penei a little bit. But this season, if he keeps it up at the level that he is, if he actually, and I know this is a big ask, but he's done it so far this year, if he can somehow go this whole year without allowing a single sack and keeps his quarterback pressures allowed to maybe under 15, maybe even under 10, then you're going to be looking at Penei Sewell as possibly the first-team All-Pro right tackle this year. I'm not saying I'm calling for it, but maybe second-team All-Pro at the very worst, and then as the seasons go on, as a guy like Lane Johnson or even gets old and gets out of his prime and retires, then you might see Penei Sewell kind of be looked at as the Lane Johnson of his era. Just not quite yet, though, but he's taken some steps this year, man. Kudos to Penei.
And for these two comments, Jeff Olson, it's hard to dethrone Williams and Wirfs. They are better than Sewell. David Brewer says, you're telling me right now Trent Williams and Lane Johnson won't be all-pro tackles. No, they will. I think Lane Johnson and Trent Williams are going to be all-pro, but again, Wirfs made it all-pro second team, and I think Sewell can challenge him.
Yeah.
He can make an all-pro second team.
Sure.
But to your point, Sam, he's not better than Lane Johnson or Trent Williams yet. Now, is it fair to say that trajectory of Penei's like this, and as Lane and Trent Williams get older, they're going down?
Of course.
So there's got to be the next upcoming left or right tackle, whatever hell he feels like playing. Whenever he wakes up and decides to play.
Especially now that the Lions are winning, they're being primetime games. A lot more people who weren't familiar with Penei Sewell's game, they're going to be familiar with it. Because when you're a left tackle on a team that's losing outside of Joe Thomas, no one really pays attention to what you're doing. If you're a left tackle on a team that's winning, that's when it comes to lineman attention, that's the only people pay attention to. Why do people pay attention to Lane Johnson? Because he's a great tackle on a great team. Trent Williams, great tackle on a great team. Trent Williams was great in Washington before he went over to the 49ers, but you didn't hear damn near the noise about it that you do now.
Actually, that's a great point, because you watch on national television, you're watching the Eagles, or you're watching the 49ers, you can't help but notice Trent Williams or Lane Johnson. Like Cassidy Reed says, he's also the second best tight end on the roster. That's fair.
All right.
Can't say that about Lane Johnson or Trent Williams.
He had one catch his entire career. Come on, guys. Come on. Now we're turning Penei Sewell into some kind of like Paul Bunyan folk hero. Just focus on him as a player. He's a damn good player. He made one catch, and now people are like, oh, he should be in the All-Pro as a tight end now.
I don't know.
It's people like Neil Rule, man, ruining Penei Sewell for me.
Eric Allen says, how about...
don't let that happen.
I
will let that happen.
I love this comment. This is going to trigger Sam. Eric Allen, how about Sewell's very first game against San Francisco, forced to play left tackle, not giving up nothing to Bosa, and hearing Bosa giving him mad props after the game was awesome.
Yeah, excellent showing. Excellent showing in his first game in a position that he hadn't really practiced.
He put him in a phone booth,
I
Sam.
wouldn't say that necessarily.
Micah Parsons, he put in a phone booth, though. You saw that.
Hey, but
Your hero, your savior, Micah Parsons.
But Micah Parsons was also by far and away the best player on the field that day on a defense that allowed 6 points, and he got 2 sacks.
He put him in the basement and locked the door.
Because the only thing that matters is head-to-head matchups. Just that's it.
That's all we had.
That's it. So by that logic, Sam Darnold was a better quarterback than Jared Goff last year. Jared Goff is a better all-time quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, right?
You said
right,
it, not
everybody?
me. You said it, not me.
Where did the Sam Darnold go? Oh, because the Carolina game?
Yes. Oh, but there's context to that one. I bet there's a lot of context to that one. Okay.
I love it. Honest comment.
Pipe down.
I'll pipe down.
Honest comment. Trent Williams and Lane Johnson are 33 and 35 years old. Yeah, those guys are, and it's crazy they're still playing at the level they're playing.
And the funny thing, too, about them is they both have had a history of injury issues, but yet they're in their mid-30s and they're still going strong. I would have thought by now they would have both fallen off and maybe even retired by now. But they just seem like ageless wonders, even though, like I said, it's not like they've had a clean bill of health their whole career. You look at Trent Williams, even over the past 8 to 10 years, he's never played a full season. But yet, when he's in there, he's as good of a left tackle as you've ever seen in the history of the NFL, still.
And then you got Jason Peters still trying to get some snaps.
The ghost of Jason Peters. He's a Hall of Famer, though. I don't want to disrespect him too much.
Yeah.
He was like the Lane Johnson before Lane Johnson for Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's fair. Benji the GOAT says differences. They line up across from each other.
No, that's and
I don't know. Head-to-head, we know what happened.
No, I get it, but it's a good thing that the NFL is more than just a head-to-head game. And for the record, I love Penei Sewell. I think that he will ultimately end up being a good pick. But people use him and the whole Micah Parsons head-to-head as an excuse to basically be like Penei Sewell's already a better player than Micah Parsons, which is absurd. Micah Parsons destroyed the Lions that game.
Not against Panay.
Okay, fine, but how many points did the Lions score? 6.
It's a team game. I'm just saying, individually. And I'm not gonna deny that Micah didn't go off, but when Micah had to go against Panay, you didn't hear from Micah.
Lucas, it's fair to say we won the battle, not the war.
Indeed. But this
is that fair?
2023.
Yeah.
We ride at dawn.
We're winning the war.
We ride at dawn.
Yeah, the war, we're getting revenge upon last year. I love it. Let's go to break. We get back. We'll bring up Brian Branch, his defensive rookie of the year odds, and I'll kind of give you a comparison with Brian Branch and one safety. You're going to want to wait and see who that is, who's pretty damn good in the NFL. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Les Stanford, because what happens before I tell you about Les Stanford, Sam Flannel has to tell you about our friends over at Dispo.
Oh, at Dispo, the only cannabis mall located in Romeo, open until midnight every single day except for Sunday. And judging by that last segment, I probably need a little bit of Dispo myself. But you all can go. You guys can enjoy it. It is a great place. Go visit it in Romeo. You got to be 21 and older to enter. And hey, if you get off the late shift, you get off a second shift, that's why it's there. It's clutch because it is open until midnight. Go to disporomeo.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
You're a good coach, Tim. Oh, great shot.
Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports, and some, well, not so much.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby.
Shit. Go in.
Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Brian Branch. I think I'm in love. Dog. I think I'm in love. This guy, he is going to be, speaking about All-Pro, and I know it sounds a little Kool-Aid-ish to giving out All-Pros to all these guys, but I think Brian Branch, and you would even agree, Sam Flannel, he's got the talent to be one one day. And he's a hell of a player immediately, day one. And his defensive rookie of the year odds just keep increasing. So get in on that right now. I think who sent it? Brady, I believe, who works in sales for us, kind of gave us the updates. Like plus 1,800 right now, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, pretty friendly odds for a guy that I think still has a chance to contend for the award. Now, I wanted to bring up some interesting stats that I thought, it matters when you talk about a big picture. But I'll wait to do that. And I want to go to Sam first on this. For Brian Branch, Defensive Rookie of the Year race. You got some pretty good candidates. You got Jalen Carter, Will Anderson. I think Devon Witherspoon is going to be in that race. Realistically, what are his chances? Be honest with me, Sam.
No, I mean, if I'm being honest, I think his chances are pretty good. Right now, I would say the front runner has to be Jalen Carter. He's playing like the best defensive tackle in the NFL right now. 20 pressures, hits, sacks. I mean, he's done it all, basically. Tackles for loss. Jalen Carter has been wrecking games for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then you got Will Anderson, who He's played very, very well, but he hasn't put up the sack numbers quite that I thought he would. Christian Gonzalez was a contender, but it looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. And then you look at what Devon Witherspoon did last night. That kind of game can catapult you from being not in the race to in the race. 2 sacks and 1 pick six in a game in which the Seattle Seahawks defense completely dominated. But Brian Branch, I would say right now, I would probably put him at second in my Defensive Rookie of the Year race with his 25 tackles, his 21 solo tackles, his pick six. He's one of the highest pass deflections when it comes to rookies in the NFL. Brian Branch has been an absolute game wrecker, and he's been so important to this Lions defense. In 3 out of the 4 games, in game 1 against Kansas City, he had the pick six. In game 3, he had that game which he had 11 tackles, 11 solo tackles, 2 pass deflections, and 3 tackles for loss. And in the last game where he actually went out hurt for part of it, he led the team in tackles as well. So I'm not saying that he's necessarily going to win it, but the fact that he basically has the combination of flying to the football and making tackles, the big splash plays, and I would say right now in terms of defensive backs, even though Christian Gonzalez has played well and Devon Witherspoon has played well, he has been the best rookie defensive back so far. And the only rookie player that I would have ahead of him is probably Jalen Carter. So right now he would be number 2 on my list.
Yeah, and Jalen Carter, trust me, he's been a game wrecker for the Eagles. And for a defensive line that I thought was going to regress to some extent, losing Hargraves, no, they're pretty much on the same level. They got Jordan Davis, they have Jalen Carter. I think Jalen Carter should be the favorite, but I think second should be Brian Branch at this point. And you know what's more interesting? Like, yeah, Defensive Rookie of the Year, that's big time. But let's look at the bigger picture. And Lucas, I sent you 2 screenshots I want you to put up whenever you get the chance to. It's a comparison between 2 players. One of them being Brian Branch, Detroit Lions rookie, drafted 45th overall. Safety out of Alabama. The second one, another safety out of Alabama, Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was drafted 11th overall, who's one of the better, if not the best safety in the NFL. 3-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler. I went and looked at his first 4 games of his rookie year. This is the 11th overall selection. Reminder, their stats are very, very similar, all right? Minkah Fitzpatrick, through 4 games of his NFL career to start, drafted again, 11th overall. 29 tackles, 1 interception, and the top one is Minkah, the bottom one is Brian Branch, for those who it gets a little confusing. So I'll go through Minkah because he's the top one. 29 tackles combined, 1 interception, not for a touchdown, 3 pass deflections. Again, 11th overall. Brian Branch, 25 tackles, 1 interception, returned for a touchdown, and 4 pass deflections. 0 sacks for either player. Now, think about that for a second.
Let that sink in. Let that marinate.
Let that sink in. Minkah Fitzpatrick, 3-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler. Like, Defensive Rookie of the Year, yeah, cool. Like, that's you know, I hope he contends for it. I hope he wins it. But let's look at the bigger picture. You have a dude, another dude. Like, this is a guy that's going to be a big part of your defense for a long time. And look at the tackle for losses. Glad you brought that up, Justin. I appreciate you. 3 tackles for losses for Brian Branch, 0 through his first 4 games for Minkah Fitzpatrick. They don't play the exact same. Brian, I think, is he especially has been living in backfields ever since Alabama. That's kind of his specialty. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He's great against the run. He's pretty damn good in pass coverage. He's all over the field making plays. And one of those, of course, against Patrick Mahomes, picked off Patrick, his first interception on the season. Brian Branch, man, like we could talk all day about his odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and it's fun and all that. But screw that. Like, I'm talking for the future. You have a stud. Think about that for a second, Sam Flannel. Minkah Fitzpatrick.
You know,
pretty damn good safety.
I mean, honestly, when you look at the rookie numbers, especially given draft value, but I'm going to take draft value out of it because then it would obviously be Brian Branch. Brian Branch has had a better start to his career than Minkah Fitzpatrick did. And you have to remember about Minkah Fitzpatrick. He was very, very good to start his career with Miami, but he didn't quite become the Minkah Fitzpatrick that we know today until he got traded to Pittsburgh. And now we all pretty much recognize him as a top 3 safety in the game at worst, and maybe the best safety safety in the game. And that is the kind of trajectory I could see for Brian Branch. And I'm not saying that I'm calling for him to be the best safety in the game anytime soon, but when it comes to defensive backs, I called for all pros when it came to Brian Branch. I said even in this secondary that is loaded with very good players, Brian Branch is the one whose ceiling is the highest. I think when it's all said and done, of all of the secondary players on the Lions right now, Brian Branch will have the best career. If we're kind of preemptively talking about gold jacket guys, I know a lot of people talk about Penei Sewell, talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown, some talk about Aiden Hutchinson. I think you could maybe add Brian Branch to the list if he continues at the level that he's been playing so far this season. And the thing about him too is that I don't see him falling off. I don't see this as like a fugazi, because coming into the NFL, what did we all say about him? He's a smart, technically sound football player. He does every single thing that you want to do well at least a B+ level. But what you've seen from him this year is that he has the ceiling to be the best safety in the game. He has the ceiling to be one of the better corners in the game if that's what he decides to be, at least a nickel corner. So, I mean, Brian Branch, as I said before, has a very good combination of being a technically sound player, a fundamentally sound player that also has the flair for the big plays, the tackles for loss, the pick sixes. And I don't know. I think this season, at the absolute worst, he is going to be on the all-rookie team. But he might even be fighting for a Pro Bowl at the end of the year if he continues how he's played so far.
Yeah, and that's the thing that impresses me the most about Brian Branch, Lucas, is his maturity. He's already a veteran, a seasoned vet. It seems like. Yeah, there's going to be rookie mistakes, but the way he plays, the physicality he plays with, again, it's going back to where he came from, which is being a starter in Nick Saban's defense all throughout his collegiate career. Tons of experience for Brian Branch.
No, and that's what's going to be huge for this Lions team, because as the NFL goes on, it's only going to get more pass heavy, more pass heavy, more pass heavy. And the league's only going to get more athletic and more athletic and more athletic. And when you have a Swiss Army knife like Brian Branch, who's intelligent as he is, it's going to make the difference for this team, because now you don't have to worry about filling out your whole secondary, because now you have a potential safety, a potential corner. You have room to just branch off Brian Branch up, and that's why this defense is going to be kind of what we were saying about Penei Sewell. Obviously, they're not the same position, but the fact that you can build around a guy like Brian Branch who's behind Aiden Hutchinson, you're going to have a constant playmaker in the run and pass game, the 3 tackles for loss. That is so huge when you're talking about a team that you're kind of thin at cornerback. The fact that you can have a safety go up there and help out your corners, so now they don't have to worry about shedding blocks as fast. He makes an impact on every phase of the game, and he's only continue to get better and better. And the way the NFL is going, Brian Branches is starting to be true luxuries. Finding a nickelback that can just truly lock everything down is like finding a 3-down running back. It's just somebody you can always depend on. He can impact all phases of the game.
Yeah, I mean, and someone said in the chat, go comp him to Honey Badger. Honey Badger's rookie year, and he missed the last 3 games, but Honey Badger had a pretty good rookie year, and I believe he was in contention for Defensive Rookie of the Year. But it is a year that I could see Brian Branch having. In 13 games, Honey Badger had 2 picks, 9 pass deflections, a forced fumble, a sack. That seemed like Honey Badger, and it's a great comparison because he's kind of the guy that's always been just a jack of all trades too. Brian Branch is the next great safety in the NFL, and you found him. And Honey Badger was drafted in 3rd round. Brian Branch was drafted at 45. He is a guy that should have been a 1st-round pick. I believe Brad had him in his 1st-round bucket of 14 players. Again, and then for this comment, marked Royal, Branch played nickel so he can make plays in the backfield. Rather have him there than safety. 100% marked. That's it right there. He's an extension. He's a sub linebacker / safety / corner / everything. And that's what you want on this defense. That's what this defense needed. This defense was already one of the worst secondaries. They were one of the worst against the run. They showed promise last year, but you got a secondary player who can do it all, Sam.
Yeah.
Who's damn good at it all.
Yeah.
It's rare to find in some guys.
I mean, and you can argue that this season, I would probably argue in favor of Aiden Hutchinson, that Brian Branch has been the best defensive player on the team. And we're going to talk a little bit later how much this defense has improved this year over last year. And one of the things that has changed is Brian Branch has came in and he wasn't there last year. And think about this, guys. And I'm going to mention one of your favorite players too, Lucas. This draft class has also included Sam Laporta, who is on pace to have an 1,000-yard season as a tight end. And he still isn't the standout of this class so far. It is Brian Branch. Because Brian Branch this year is playing one of the better defensive backs in all of football. As not just rookies, defensive backs total. He has been an absolute revelation.
And think about that. And even this comment, Steve, defense goes from worst to top 10. And the point I just made about that, I would argue Brian has a lot to do with that. He had the additions. Cam Sutton, I would say, another one. There's obviously unsung heroes, but a guy like Brian Branch, like a rookie, to impact your defense like he has is absurd. So, again, all credit goes to Brad Holmes and for the coaching staff and Nick Saban, too, for getting this dude ready. So, again, he's going to have a great career in Detroit. Hopefully he sticks around for a long time. Let's go to break. When we come back, I do want to ask the question, which coordinator has been more impressive for the Detroit Lions? We'll have that discussion. You guys can weigh in. But first, I got to hear about our friends from Guardian Alarm. Speaking of defenses.
Absolutely. Guardian Alarm. We got to talk about it. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Give them a call at 1-800-STAY out.
Stay out.
That's 1-800-STAY out. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Stay the hell out.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty? That is exactly what Mark White & Associates offers. It's called the Minute-by-Minute Listing Agreement by Mark White & Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys for joining the show. If you could do us a favor, hit the like button. It supports us, supports the network, it supports the show. So again, appreciate you for that. Again, I want to ask the question, which coordinator, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, who has been more impressive? And I'll wait to give my answer. I'll start with you, Sam, and I'll kind of go around the room here. But Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, we know Ben Johnson and what he's done last year. They had a top 5 offense. Offense looks pretty good this year. Aaron Glenn, defense, had a shaky performance against the Seahawks, but for the most part, they've improved. Who's more impressive?
All right. Well, I love Ben Johnson. I think that he is the next in line to get a head coaching job when one opens. But it is Aaron Glenn by a country mile. And here's why. Listen to these improvements that the Lions defense has made so far this year as opposed to last year as a whole. In 2022, the Lions were 5th worst in the NFL in points allowed per game at 25.1. This season so far, they are 13th best in points allowed per game at 20.8, basically a 4-point-a-game difference. In 2022, the Lions were 4th worst in rushing yards allowed per game at 146.5. And this one is the actual staggerer. This one is the doozy of all doozies. In 2023, the Lions are the best in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game. No, I did not stutter, and I'm sure all of you already know this, but it is so shocking how well they have improved. The Lions are the best in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game at 60.8. That is basically more than the turnaround, it's more than an 85 yard per game turnaround. Unbelievable. In 2022, the Lions were third worst in passing yards allowed per game at 245.8. In 2023, this year, the Lions are 18th best in passing yards allowed per game at 219.8. So basically about a 25-yard turnaround. And in 2022, the Lions were dead last in yards allowed per game at 392.4. And this year, the Lions are fourth best in yards allowed per game at 280.5. That is more than an 100-yard a game difference. So I don't think there's a whole lot more that I need to say about that, because Aaron Glenn, the improvement that this defense has made this year as opposed to last year, what did we say before the season? We said that this is a defense that its ceiling is probably top 10. We were going to say top 15 at worst, with also given the fact that they have a great offense, which means that they're going to have a damn good team that wins the division. But this defense, I'd say, has even exceeded expectations so far. And this is all including a dud performance against Seattle. So if you take that one out, which I'm not a fan of doing because you can't take it out, the Lions defense in 3 out of the 4 games has been borderline dominant. And I would say in 2 out of the 3 games, definitely dominant. It is Aaron Glenn without a shadow of a doubt, and I would say that Aaron Glenn not only has taken himself off the hot seat, if the defense keeps playing as well as they're playing, especially given what their expectations were nationally, Aaron Glenn could kind of put himself in the running for coordinator of the year. I'm not saying I'm calling for it.
I think AG could get himself an interview.
Sure,
to be
absolutely.
a head coach. Like, I think that's where he's trending.
Yes.
If this defense keeps up with what they've been doing. I mean, even go back to last year. This team set Lions records for sacks from rookies.
Yeah.
Like, who are we giving that credit to? Like, I think Aaron Glenn deserves some of that credit. They set records for sacks. Pascal, Houston, Aiden, everybody. And then you go back to this year, and even kind of staying with last year, AG was on the hot seat. That was the whole conversation. This defense was one of the worst in the NFL. Like you said, Sam, they were almost giving up 150 yards rushing a game. Yeah, you heard that right. 150, actually 146.5. And then you talk about their passing defense, 245.8 last year. So essentially, what I'm saying is they're giving up 400 yards of offense a game. That's kind of what was trending. That's essentially what the numbers are telling me. And this year, you basically slice more than half of that rushing defense, improve it, because they were allowing 146.5. They're allowing 60.8 this year. It's better than half of that. And then you talk about their passing defense. Right now they stand 18th in the NFL for passing yards allowed, just behind San Francisco. Ooh, a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
And then you go up, New York Jets are at 16. So you're in that conversation. Even confusing. Houston's at 9, by the way, for their pass defense. Kind of weird.
I believe it.
But regardless, Detroit, much improved defense. Like, Ben Johnson, we know what Ben's going to do. Like, we know he's an elite coordinator. I knew there'd be regression this year, not because Ben's bad or anything like that, but because there's a whole year of tape on Ben Johnson and what they do. So I knew there'd be some regression. They're still right now a top 10 offense, but to be top 5 again would be impressive. I don't know if they could do it, but regardless, what are they if they're a top 7, top 8, who cares? The defense was where everybody was focused on. What was this defense going to do? You're right, Aiden Hutchinson in his second year. What kind of jump are these guys going to take? You're telling me Aaron Glenn, without James Houston, without Pascal, without, Emmanuel Mosley, supposed to be your number 2 corner, now without C.J. Gardner-Johnson, without Kirby Joseph last week. Like, you can keep going. They still are a top defense. Top 15 in totality, top 10, wherever you want to put them. But number 1 against the run and 18th against the pass. Like, AG deserves all the love and then some. Like, and I'm serious when I say that. Like, I think he can earn himself an interview because he's a leader. The players seem to be buying in. And there'll be times like, again, against Seattle where you sat there and you thought to yourself, what the hell's going on? This defense can't stop a nosebleed. But they adjusted. In 3 of the 4 games, they've been good. So I can't base it off one game. Like, 3 of the 4, they've been solid. And one of those games was on the road.
Yeah.
In Green Bay, in Lambeau Field. Oh, the other? Arrowhead. Like, 2 tough places to play. But Lucas, what do you think?
I said it last night. I think it's Ben Johnson. Like, I'm not, and I don't want to discredit anything that Aaron Glenn has done. But it's almost like we've kind of just gotten used to what Ben Johnson does. Because people forget about, in Kansas City, you don't make a bunch of play calls where it could potentially, like, you're not drawing up flea flickers and like that when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes and you have this offensive line and running attack. Like, when you have that opportunity, you bleed the clock. So to say Ben Johnson wasn't taking any shots against Kansas City, yeah, that's not really what you want to do against Kansas City when you have a run game. Against Seattle, we saw the flea flicker to Khalif Raymond. Falcons, you saw Sam Laporta flying down for 45-yard touchdown. How many times do you see a tight end screaming down the field wide open? And right before that, Khalif Raymond was wide open and Jared Goff just barely overthrew him. And then this week, Amon-Ra St. Brown on the stick route, that it was the same pattern. A stick route is what Daniel Jones threw an interception at the goal line. They adjusted it, and they ran Amon-Ra like a hitch spin, like the touchdown that Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's Ben Johnson. So I'm not discrediting what Aaron Glenn has done, but I just think Ben Johnson brings this offense such a level of consistency that we even saw against the Seattle Seahawks, where Aaron Glenn was kind of off his game, and I'm not going to hold him to it. But the thing that was keeping him in was that consistent offense, being able to respond right away. And I understand Jared Goff's throwing interceptions, but Ben Johnson has also been able to instill confidence. I think this team has confidence in Jared Goff, but that all stems down from Ben Johnson giving Jared Goff that confidence. So I think not only has he done a great job play calling, but this is his second year with Jared Goff. He's going to get Jameson Williams back. All those exciting plays that we've been kind of missing out on, quote unquote, right now, even though I think we've still had them, it's going to open up even more. So I'm just leaning slightly Ben Johnson just for the level of consistency that he brings each week. But Aaron Glenn, to your guys' point, he stepped his fucking game up, man. Like, even I was kind of down him after that Seattle week, and he shut me up really fucking quick. But just for that reason, I'm going to lean Ben Johnson.
And before I discuss that, I want to read this comment. Jesse says, it's fair you say, Jeff, but the QBs they've faced, 3 of the 4 of them have been mid or below mid. I believe in the defense, but I'm just pointing that out. Okay. Jordan Love, who was up there in QBR, 7-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, like 53% completion percentage. Yeah, it's not impressive, but the Lions made him look even worse. Like, they made him look trash, Jesse. Like, that's the part I have to take into consideration, because if I sat up here and Jordan Love torched you, we'd be all complaining about Aaron Glenn. We'd all be saying, damn, Aaron, you let Jordan Love torch you. But now that he looks like trash, we all are going to say, well, Jordan Love is trash anyway. I don't think that's fair.
Jesse Adams, you're a valued member of this community, but I don't like that comment for a couple of reasons. One, like you just said, Jordan Love prior to that game had a 7-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
And who's the other mid quarterback? Yeah, Geno and Patrick.
Well, here's the thing.
Patrick ain't mid.
Patrick Mahomes, even though he was missing his best weapon, is the best quarterback to ever play NFL football, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would share that opinion. Not greatest, but best. And I would say the Lions defense forced him into a mid game by his standards, certainly. And Geno Smith, I know a lot of the people who are going to say that Geno Smith is mid really like Jared Goff. And you could argue over the last year and a quarter that Geno Smith has been a better quarterback than Jared Goff. I'm not saying that he is. I'm not saying I would take him, but the numbers are very, very comparable. So Desmond Ridder, I'll give you that. He's worse than mid. He's the worst quarterback in the NFL.
He stinks.
Jordan Love, I think you're going to see that he is mid. But Patrick Mahomes and Geno Smith, and I get it, Geno Smith, that defensive performance was their worst one of the year. But I don't want to go to this whole context of like, oh, they played mid quarterbacks. Even when we're saying stuff that you should like, you still got to find a reason to bitch. Well, I don't know.
And by the way, to Lucas saying Ben Johnson, this isn't me, like, because again, they've both been impressive.
There's no like wrong answer. In my opinion.
The thing I would go for Aaron Glenn is last year this defense, it made it hard for Ben Johnson. The guy was put with a tough task because this defense was allowing 25.1 points per game. So you had to score every game in high scoring games. This year they decreased that to 20. So this offense just needs to score over 20 and they're winning games. Like that. And again, like Ben Johnson's been impressive, but AG, because the defense has been better, it's made Ben's job easier. Is that fair?
No, that's definitely fair. But then it just goes to my point of just like, we know Ben, if he wants to, he can open that. He just doesn't have to right now.
Aw, don't do that.
I'm being serious. Like, I'm agreeing with you. But, like, we all know
like Ben could score 40. He just doesn't want to.
Ben can score 40. Like, we've seen this Lions offense do it. Go back to the Jacksonville Jaguars game last year.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, we know Ben can do it. That's my thing. Like, AG stepped up big time. But for me, it's just Ben Johnson has proved himself so much to me that it's just, and he hasn't missed a beat. Like, I understand that he's been more conservative with the play calling right now, but he doesn't have to get, like, he's able to be conservative.
100%.
He's able just to kind of relax, let Jared Goff make these checkdowns. But when they go up there in big games, like when they go into Dallas, and they got Jamison Williams back, and you got Penei Sewell that's able to pull outside in front of them, and Jonah Jackson like we saw last year, I guarantee you this running game and the passing game, there's going to be a lot more wrinkles that we see throughout the season.
And to Booner's point, too, to kind of close this out, like AG, you could bring up the quarterbacks. What about the running backs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Aaron Jones, K9, and Pacheco. Thank you, Booner. Like, that's another part of this, too.
Booner, that is a great point, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that. What did Bijan Robinson and Isaiah Pacheco do this weekend? Had 100-yard games. What did Kenneth Walker do last night? He gave you, I think, 80 or 79 or something like that. What did they do against the Lions? Seriously, it's all of those running backs are having great seasons. Aaron Jones, I mean, he's been hurt for most of the year, but Aaron Jones probably wishes that he would have stayed hurt for his game against the Lions. All I'm saying is this year, this Lions rush defense has been so spectacular. It's literally been where good running backs go to die.
Yeah.
That's by
100%.
the numbers. That is 100% what it's been. These running backs had their worst games by a mile against the Lions.
Okay, mile and a half, 2 miles, like a marathon.
That
like,
could potentially be Bijan's worst game of his career.
Yes.
Like, legitimately. Like, it really could be.
Yeah, and again, you guys know, like, if you guys have been a fan of the show for a while, you know my love for Ben Johnson. Like, I've been, like, full pause, but, like,
You called him for the job before he even was
yeah,
an OC.
like, so I don't want this, again, because Lucas is speaking facts, but Aaron Glenn, I am shocked. I am shocked with this defense. If this defense is what it is, Lions are not only going to win a ton of games, but if this defense carries into the playoffs, boy.
A lot more flexes.
Oh, yeah.
All those Giants primetime.
Yeah.
Dude, I think the Giants have another primetime game next week or maybe in 2 weeks.
You know their next two games?
The Dolphins and the fucking Bills.
Dude,
the Bills one's, I think, the primetime game, and both of them are on the road. They're going to start out 1-5.
The Giants are a 4-win football team. I'm not kidding. They are a 4-win football team this year.
Who's excited for Thursday Night Football this week?
Let's
go.
Can the Bears get their first win of the season?
Hey, instead of watching the Thursday night game, watch Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. Watch that. Watch
that's
them,
way
watch them
better.
just react to it.
Actually, that's a great segue. Yeah, watch Woodward Nights over that garbage. You're going to tune into Bears and Commanders. Lucas's guy. Sam Howell. No, you're going to tune into the duo you never thought you needed. Broder and Booner. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. They got the guys in the show as well, Jalen and Nick, holding it down for the network. Those are my guys, man, and they're crushing it. So, again, are you going to watch the trash-ass Bears try and get a win? No. You're going to watch Woodward Nights. Maybe have the Bears on in the background.
Yeah.
Woodward Nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays. Let's go to break. When we get back, I do want to get into the Carolina game a little bit because, I do want to tease. I don't want to give out too much. We'll get into it more later in the week. But the question I have for everybody, and think about this as we go to break, should the Lions be sleeping on the Panthers? We'll talk about this being a revenge game. Lee McNeil spoke to the media yesterday about it. All that and more when we come back. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy because, listen, guys, I know where I'm going later on. Starving. They got burgers, chicken sandwiches. You can get them at Big Boy. The hot chicken sandwich, the pretzel, bacon cheeseburger. Well, if you're feeling dessert, they got that too. Try their funnel cake fries. Delicious. All that and more at Big Boy.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Calling all landscapers. Ooh, man, I've got the wrong read in front of me. They've got all kinds of things that you want at outdoor equipment. They got mowers, weed whippers.
Even a weed whipper.
Even a weed whipper. I mean, if you saw that commercial, Darren McCarty was literally chasing around the great heavyweight Spencer Raxter with a weed whipper. Serving the Great Lakes region. Give them a call at 866-688-7847. OutdoorEquipmentCo.com. Visit them and you can have delivery right to your doorstep. Outdoor equipment.
Better way, Flannel.
The pitch was like increasing as the read went on. I love that. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys' presence. Could have been anywhere this morning, but you're with us on the morning show, so thank you for that. Coach Walk 37. Jeff's going to Big Boy on Hall Road down the street from the Fulls. Actually, I do know of that Big Boy on Hall Road. Shout out to you, Coach Walk. I think we're relatively from the same area.
You and Coach Walk?
Yeah, he's a legend.
You got to break that beef up then.
I don't have beef with Coach Walk. I love him.
Has it no more beef?
Not on this side.
Okay. Cool.
Listen, I'm good. I love Coach Walk. Again, he's very, like Sam Flannel, very valued member of the program.
Oh, extremely.
Very valued.
He's one of the Lucas OGs.
Yeah.
When I first started, he was one of my first supporters.
Yeah, he's a real one. Nicholas Earl says, weed whipper. All right, let's get to the Carolina Panthers. The question I have is, should the Lions be sleeping on them? And this is the response I expected. I have a poll right now. YouTube, go to YouTube, check out Morning Woodward Show. You'll check it out. Should the Detroit Lions be sleeping on the Panthers? Yes, they're trash. No, don't overlook them, please. And then, of course, trap game. In 77% of the votes, no, don't overlook them, please. There's the Lions fanism. Don't overlook them. Like, I don't think we've earned the right to look at the Panthers and be like, we're going to go smoke them at home. I don't think so. Now, do I like the Lions' chances? Yeah. And how the Panthers played last week, you scored 13 against that Vikings defense.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like it. Bryce Young, you know what would make his job easier? Running the football. Oh, guess what? Lions are number one against the run. Now, the Panthers did run for over 300 yards last year. They destroyed this Lions defensive line. Different head coach, different backfield. A lot of things were different, but still. The Lions, players remember that. Aleem McNeil remembers that. And he brought that up, and of course, he said I'd be lying if I didn't, talk about a revenge game. Like, they're going to be motivated, but they were also against the Seahawks. Now, the difference is Bryce Young is not playing like Geno Smith. He's actually struggling.
Talent is the difference.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Now, wide receiver, though, is even bigger to me. Who did the Panthers got?
Don't disrespect.
The corpse of Adam Thielen?
Don't disrespect.
No. I'm going there. No. The Seahawks, DK, Tyler Lockett. Jackson Smith was injured, but they got Noah Fant, Will Dissly, and Will Dissly surprised me last year. He torched the Lions.
Okay. So let me step in. Let me step in for 2 seconds. You're like, Adam Thielen, corpse, not even worry about him. And then you mention Will Dissly as like one of the Seahawks' great threats or something like that. Come on, Jeff. Come on.
Who
now.
did I mention the three before him, Sam?
I get that, but you just were like, Adam Thielen, he's nothing. He's terrible.
Excuse me, Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst is better than Will Dissly.
Let's do a breakdown in Hayden Hurst, Sam Flannel. Go.
All right.
Come on. Who do they got? Am I wrong here? Like Adam Thielen and DJ Chark. And DJ Chark, hey, you know that. Listen, I like DJ Chark.
You're DJ Chark, the almighty, irreplaceable DJ Chark.
Well, Marvin Jones is doing a great job. But anyway, DJ Chark with that offense, though, I don't think it fits what Bryce Young's doing right now. At least their connection isn't there. I like DJ, but I'm not scared of any of those wide receivers, Sam. Tell me why I should be scared.
No, I mean, Adam Thielen has actually put up a damn good year so far this year. And it seems like, though, the one thing I will say, though, is it seems like the Andy Dalton to Adam Thielen connection was actually on point. Bryce Young so far has just not been very, very good. And honestly, I don't want to get into it too much because we're going to talk about Lions-Panthers all week long, but the Panthers are probably going to cost themselves some wins by playing Bryce Young over Andy Dalton because this is a roster that actually has some players, especially defensively. You got Brian Burns, you got Derek Brown, you got Frankie Louvu, and you got, of course, Adam.
Don't bring up Frankie Louvu.
He's got 2.5 sacks.
He's all right, Frank.
So I bring up Will Dissly. You bring up Frankie Louvu.
Frankie Louvu's an infinitely better linebacker than Will Dissly is a tight end. Will Dissly's okay. But
continue.
We're really splitting hairs though. Frankie Louvu versus 313-552-6322. Which player are you more scared?
Continue, Sam. My apologies.
All right, no, but here's the reality of the situation. The Panthers Panthers are 0-4. They're one of 2 winless teams in the NFL, the other one being the Chicago Bears, who the Lions get to play twice. So you would think with the Carolina Panthers and the Bears, and starting with the Carolina Panthers, that this is a team that the Lions should feast on. And that is exactly what the Lions need to do. I'm not saying that it's definitely not a trap game. It's definitely somebody, though, that you can't overlook as well, because I just mentioned the Panthers do have some very, very good defensive pieces. And not only did the Panthers not score, they scored 13 on the Vikings. 7 of that was on a 99-yard pick six against the Vikings defense.
That is true.
So you should not worry even one iota about this Panthers offense, especially if Bryce Young is out there and Miles Sanders is proven to be a Philadelphia Eagles system running back and nothing more. Like, if we're talking about rush defense, this Lions rush defense shut down K9, Bijan Robinson, Isaiah Pacheco, and Aaron Jones. Miles Sanders will be the worst starting running back they will have faced so far. I know we'll get into it more, but the Lions, they have to win this game, because if they don't, and I don't even want to think about it, their standing as one of the contenders in the NFL is over.
Well,
seriously.
No, it is not a good look, especially from Bryce Young, who, Lucas, in case you didn't know, Bryce Young in 3 games has been sacked 11 times.
Yeah.
He was sacked 5 against the Vikings. That vicious Vikings defense sacked 5 times. Lions are going to get free 4 to 6 times. That's a given.
Yeah, the Lions shouldn't overlook any NFL team. They shouldn't.
Here we go.
They shouldn't. But as Lions fans, have full confidence that there's like a 1% path for the Carolina Panthers to win this game. They're just I don't see a path. I don't see how they're going to protect Bryce Young. I don't see how they're going to stop this run game. I don't see how they're going to be able to stop it. Jamison Williams is back. They have no J.C. Horn. I like Jeremy Chin a lot, but that's the only DB they got going.
C.J.
Henderson is just like all potential and has been no like consistency so far in his career.
Right.
Don't overlook
Frankie Louvu.
But this is the last, like the trap game, in my opinion, comes the next week. But right now, the Panthers, I think this is a perfect game to get Emmanuel Mosley back, bring him in for a couple reps, see how that Achilles is doing, bring J-Mo back, maybe throw a deep shot, just get him implemented. If Brian Branch is still hurt, rest him for Tampa Bay the next week. If Kirby Joseph is still hurt, rest him for Tampa Bay the next week. If Andy Dalton is the starter, then okay, maybe there's a little bit of cause for pause as far as like all right, now just be a little bit more prepared, because you're not going to have those rookie mistakes. He's going to have more composure in the pocket.
100%.
When it comes to getting to Bryce Young, a lot more of those are going to turn into fumbles. With Andy Dalton, they'll probably just be sacks. But Bryce Young creates a ton of room for error. Aaron Glenn's defense is just going to capitalize off of it. And I think Ben Johnson, we're just going to see a conservative game out of him.
Yeah.
That's right, because the defense is going to collapse the pocket for him all game.
Yeah, the Panthers defense I'm scared of. Like I like Brian Burns, Derek Brown, like Frankie Louvu.
He's a good player.
Frankie Louvu.
He's a damn good player.
Yeah, I was told. I guess he was. I don't know. But regardless, that defense does put some fear in my eyes. The secondary is a little broken down without J.C. Horn. But I love this comment, because I'm not going to go as far to say Andy Dalton scares me. Steve Lehman says Andy Dalton scares me. I'm not going to say that. But to Lucas's point, I would be more weary if Andy Dalton was starting than Bryce Young at this point in his career. Bryce, I think, is going to be a great player, but 4 games into his career would be his 4th start. I mean, if Dalton's out there, his experience maybe puts me a little on edge. But the only thing that I'm actually scared of is the Panthers defense. Like, turnovers would kill the Lions.
Well, yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you, though. If Andy Dalton is out there, I'm not going to say that I'd be nervous if I'm a Lions fan, but I would be more weary than Bryce Young, because the one game
100%.
that Andy Dalton started, the Panthers put up 27 points, and the famed Dalton to Thielen connection was on point. Thielen had 11 catches for $145 and a touchdown in that game, and ever since then, in all the Bryce Young games, he hasn't been nearly as productive. It's just that Bryce Young, at this point in his career, behind that offensive line, and he's basically taking a lot of sacks, he hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked dynamic. The offense has basically looked stagnant all the time. And Miles Sanders is averaging less than 3 yards per carry this year. So I would, you know what? I'm gonna save it. I have a very, very bold declaration for the Detroit Lions and how their defense is going to perform against the Panthers. But we got 3 more days to do this. I'll just say that the Panthers offense doesn't, with Bryce Young, puts no fear in me. Not even a little bit.
Jesse Adams says, thanks, Jeff. Turnovers will hurt the Lions. Great insight. I mean, that's the only way I see this team losing. Like I do.
Yeah.
Unless Jared Goff has a pick six and a fumble. And then you have kind of like what happened with the against the Cowboys last year. Like Jamal fumbled, Jared fumbled. Everyone's just fumbling.
Even then, there's no Amon-Ra St. Brown that game.
Right. So, that's the only path to victory for the Panthers is if the Lions just melt down and their defense just melts down, which I want to say it won't. We'll see. And again, for people that are saying, last year it's, you can't overlook them. They did this to you last year. It's different. Like Deuce Staley's now a part of the Panthers, which is going to be interesting. But more than that, it's a completely different coaching staff. It's a lot of different personnel. Defense is relatively the same, and of course the offensive line, but new quarterback, new weapons, new running back. A lot of things are new, so I don't want to – it's not the same, but of course the Lions players remember that. So hopefully, they get revenge. We'll break the game more, we'll break it down more in depth later in the week. But I just wanted to go through the Panthers, and I'm glad everyone's kind of on the same page here. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get into me and Sam's top 10, and then of course we'll get to Lucas's top 10 at 9:30. But first, I got to hear from our friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Oh, absolutely. Now that fall is here, we've got football on the brain, and this season has already been awesome so far, and it's just going to continue to get better as the season goes on. And make sure Swiss has you covered. You can give them an email at mark@swissins.com. Swiss Insurance Group.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Glorious. JB, hit me with it. I need it. There you go. There you go. Glorious Cannabis, guys. They just came out with a new strain, Honolulu Blue, to celebrate an upcoming, hopefully, Lions victory this week. Or if you're still celebrating last week's victory, who knows? Who cares? Smoke some weed. Honolulu Blue. They'll take care of you. Our friends over at Glorious Cannabis. You can find it now at Dispo. Use code Woodward to get 20% off. Check it out. There you go. We're back. Let's talk more about the NFL. Let's go into now our top 10 list. Me and Sam, we do this every Tuesday. It's Top 10 Tuesday. Me and Sam give our list, and then Lucas reacts to our list, nitpicks our list, or at least tries to, because
I speak reason.
We'll see. And then Lucas gives his list at 9:30. We'll start it off, Sam Flannel. You can go first. Cue it up for.
All right. At number 10, I have a team that I was not expecting to put on this list, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because quite simply, they've gotten the job done. Their defense has played well, and Baker Mayfield has actually had a resurgent season, and he has played well enough. He's not turning the football over. And hey, that game against the Buccaneers in a couple of weeks looks mighty important for the Lions now, when previously it might have looked like a walkover. At number 9, I have the Seattle Seahawks, who have righted their season. They've won 3 straight after an opening loss at home to the Rams. Their defense has been shaky-ish at times, but in yesterday's game, 11 sacks. Devon Witherspoon looks like a player. Bobby Wagner is still one of the best linebackers in the NFL. And what was one of their biggest concerns? Their pass rush. Didn't look like a concern last night. And of course, I gotta mention Geno Smith, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker. At number 8, I have the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of people might think it's a little bit too low right now. It just kind of speaks to the talent around the NFL. They just come off of their most impressive win of the season. basically running, just basically like, sifting through Cleveland Browns defense, which before the game was the best in the NFL in terms of points allowed per game. Lamar Jackson had a hell of a game, and you got to give credit to that Ravens defense, although they were facing everybody's hero, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and a backfield without Nick Chubb.
Better than Frankie Louvu.
Hey, I would not even close. Not even close, bud. But at number 7, I got to go with the Miami Dolphins. And I will say this, the Miami Dolphins, they still have great personnel. Their defense, though, I think might be a little bit shaky for the season until Jalen Ramsey gets back. Then people might realize, because they gave up basically a career game to Josh Allen. And that's not really the worst thing in the world, but still, they definitely look shaky. And maybe we can pump the brakes just a little bit on the Tua Tagovailoa is Jesus campaign. He's a very, very good player, but he was humbled a little bit. He was. All right, at number 6, I have the Dallas Cowboys. I know probably people think I put them too high, but here's the thing. The Dallas Cowboys, they've had 3 absolutely dominating performances. We can talk about the level of competition all you want, but when their defense is right, it is one of the best in the NFL, and Micah Parsons might still be the best defensive player in the NFL. I know we worry about Dak Prescott, but still, this team has earned it so far with their level of play. 3 blowout wins and then an F- performance against the Cardinals. They still kind of righted their season at home versus New England. At number 5, I have the Detroit Lions. Top 5.
We'll take it.
Absolutely.
Especially with Flannel's rankings. We'll take that all day of the week, baby.
And here's the thing. They went into Lambeau. Not the best Packers team. Definitely not the best Packers quarterback of the last 25 years. Definitely the worst. But still, it was a very impressive win. It was in dominant fashion. And this Lions run defense, so far this season, I cannot believe I am saying this, the Lions run defense has been the key to their success so far. It is first in the NFL, and their offense is basically doing the exact same thing as it did last season. I think it's averaging 0.1 points per game less this year, but that is still very, very good. At number 4, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. And many things can be true. The Kansas City Chiefs escaped at the New York Jets. It looked like they were going to lose that game, but here's the reason why I still have the Kansas City Chiefs so high.
Talk to me.
1, they still are 3-1. They still won their games. They've taken care of businesses besides for their home opener when 2 of their best players were out. And 2, Isaiah Pacheco is the best running back that Patrick Mahomes has ever played with, and this Chiefs defense is the best Chiefs defense that they have had with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback. They have never even had a top 10 defense ever. This year, with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback, this year is going to change that. At number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. The Bills right now should be kicking themselves that they let one slip away at home versus New York to start the season, but ever since then, it has been blowout. Josh Allen has looked like the best quarterback in the league for the past 3 weeks. He's even played better than Patrick Mahomes for this 3-week stretch, and that defense is dominant, and that running game, that Bills running game, which has been absent for so many years. James Cook has been balling. This offensive line has been balling, and the Buffalo Bills, if they can keep running the football and playing defense at the level that they have, Josh Allen is a quarterback that can get them to a Super Bowl, and hell, maybe they'll even win it. So they are my best team in the AFC right now. At number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. They haven't always been as impressive as maybe you would hope. They almost lost to the Washington Commanders at home, which even though the Commanders are better than we thought, it would have been a bad loss, but still, Jalen Carter is playing like the defensive rookie of the year. That front 7 has still been very, very good. It's that secondary that's been way leakier than people may have thought. And Lucas, you brought it up. Maybe Reed Blankenship is a downgrade on C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think we would have all foreseen that.
You're talking about the luxury earlier of having a guy like Brian Branch. The Eagles are facing that issue right now because they have no C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was their nickelback last year. They had Mike Epps back there still as their safety. And now that he's gone, they need a Brian Branch bad. I mean, they most certainly do, but you know what? The Eagles, maybe they're more vulnerable than we would have thought. I think that they are. But a team that is definitely not vulnerable is number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. This should be unanimous at this point. The San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFL. Brock Purdy, still with that Kyle Shanahan system, is playing very, very well. That defense has been dominant. But the biggest difference between this 49ers team and 49ers teams of the past is they have the NFL MVP right now as their running back. Christian McCaffrey
McCaffrey, the great Christian McCaffrey, the Christian McCaffrey that might have a gold jacket in Canton one day, is playing the best football of his life by a wide stretch. Think about this. This is a man who once had 1,000 rushing yards and receiving yards in a season, but that was not the Christian McCaffrey that we even see today. Behind that run blocking, behind that Kyle Shanahan system, the San Francisco 49ers, this is probably a 15-win football team.
Yeah.
They're number one at this point to me.
I like it. I like it. Something's different with my list. You throw my list up. We'll break it down. So for me, a couple things. I think relatively the same, though. You look at the top 10 lists. Not too much to change. Like for me, and I'll start from the top to bottom, San Francisco 49ers, you laid it out there. They're the best team in the NFL, point blank, and they deserve to be there. I think there's a little bit of a gap, too. Like it's the 49ers, and then the Eagles, and then the rest. Because the Eagles are part of that rest. Because the Eagles haven't proven to me that they're last year's team. They're undefeated, and maybe in a way, and this is why I have them over the Bills, it's impressive when a team's winning, although they're not playing their best. They're 4-0, and that offense doesn't seem to look like it did last year. So I'm going to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt there and still give them the number 2 spot. But Buffalo, ever since that New York Jets loss, they've looked incredible. They've blown out everybody they faced, and they deserve credit there. Finally got a running back they can trust in James Cook. So I like it. Josh Allen, stop turning the ball over at least as much as he did week 1. So if they can keep that up, even though Josh Allen's, his passer rating per game is like a roller coaster. It just keeps going up and then down and then up. So far, it's up. So I'm giving the Bills credit. They're 3. 4, I got the Detroit Lions. I got the Detroit Lions at 4 over the Kansas City Chiefs for a couple of reasons. One, Kansas City, looking at the Jets game, looking at the Jags game, there is concern there. The Chiefs, and then they faced the Lions and lost. Not saying that the head-to-head matters at all because Seattle beat the Lions and they're at 9, but regardless, that does matter. The Chiefs haven't been as dominant as I expected, and I think the Lions are a more complete roster right now. They have Patrick Mahomes, and if you want to give them the edge, fine, but I'm going to go with the Lions and give them respect there as a top 4 team right now. Currently, Kansas City at 5, like I just explained. 6, the Miami Dolphins. The Bills just have their number, and I don't know why. It is what it is. Josh Allen just knows how to operate and how to just pick apart the Miami Dolphins every single time they play. So it is what it is. I think they're still a football team that put up 70 in an NFL game. So they get respect, but they do get knocked for that performance last week. Baltimore, I would argue Baltimore has one of the more impressive wins. They beat the Bengals, even though they're bad, but they still beat the Bengals. They destroyed the Browns in their defense. The number 1 defense, arguably, in the NFL. They destroyed them, 28-3. So the Ravens get a ton of credit there. They destroyed the Texans, which seem to be this sleeper team that is upsetting everybody. So the Ravens are one of those sleeper teams up there, but they're 7 for me. Higher than the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they lost to the Cardinals, and they destroyed the Patriots, but I think, personally at least, I don't know how much I'm taking away from that. Like, the Cowboys beat up on a Patriots team. Yeah, it's Bill Belichick, of course.
Did you see that Mac Jones interception?
Yeah, like some of that, man.
You talk about Daniel Jones making rookie-like mistakes last night. Mac Jones played fucking terrible.
Yeah, and Mac Jones stinks. So, I don't know, and then, of course, the Ravens face DTR. So, those wins to me are kind of weird to judge, but I still think the Cowboys are frauds. So they're at 8 for me. That may be a personal vendetta. It is what it is. 9, the Seattle Seahawks. I think they're trending upwards. I like the Seahawks, especially last night. They took care of the Giants. But in general, the Seahawks, they got Devon Witherspoon back. I think they got a pretty good defense, and Geno Smith, as long as he stays healthy, they got weapons. They do. So I like the Seahawks. I think they're going to keep climbing. I almost had them over the Dallas Cowboys, but I didn't. I left it as it is. At 10, because I'm stubborn, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, my Super Bowl pick.
It's a good call, Jeff.
My MVP, Trevor Lawrence. I'll go on the stand. I don't give a damn. I have them at 10. Yeah, over the Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Bucks.
Fair.
Because I'll tell you what, and this is all I got left. If they score it off on a neutral field, I believe in the Jags. That's all I got. I don't have anything else. Bucks are 3-1. They lead their division. And Jacksonville, I think it's early. I'm not going to jump off the Jacksonville Jaguars ship yet. We'll see how they trend. But I like the Jags a lot. So I have them at 10. That's my list. Sam showed you his list. We'll put a poll in the chat. We'll go to break here. Let the people vote. And then we'll get to Lucas. And you can pick apart our list. You can try to. See if you have success.
Try to.
Hey, it is what it is. You can attempt to. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness. Because, guys, if you want to get in the best shape, I got the place for you. It's Planet Fitness. You sign up, $10 a month. It's easy. Go to planetfitness.com. Sign up. They got one of the cleanest gyms. You can use any of their luxury items there. You can get a massage chair, tanning bed. Check it out. You can even get a trainer, and they could train you if you're new to working out. Your fitness is essential. Only at Planet Fitness. Again, visit www.planetfitness for more information.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests, for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer, Academy of Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Holton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Welcome back. Let me tell you about our friends over at the Hamlin Pub. Have you ever wanted to be at a bar where you're known as a regular? Unless you're an alcoholic, but I don't think you are. We have just the place for you. Head to Hamlin Pub. They got 7 locations and experience where everyone's a regular. Trust me, I've been to Hamlin Pub. I go there all the time. Me and my dad love it. It's a great experience. You go there, have some of their delicious wings, have a brewski or two, watch the game. It's a fun time over at Hamlin Pub. Whether you're enjoying half-off pizza on a Thursday or game day specials available during all Michigan sports and NFL games, Hamlin Pub is the place. Visit a location today and experience your new favorite pub for all things sports. Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. You know what time it is. Lucas, let's get to your list.
Oh, yeah.
And then you pick apart my list. We got 10 minutes here, so we'll try to make it a fast pass, but
the real
talk
list.
to me.
I'll fly through it real quick. I won't take up too much of our time. But, Jeff, you're spot on with the Jags at number 10. We were in lockstep with that. And we got the Seahawks, so I'm going to leave them. They were pretty much in the same spot last time. I'm not overly convinced. Their defense looked really good last night, but so is every defense that played against Daniel Jones. The Cowboys, they still got Dak Prescott. Defense is nice. Still, you got to hold account for that loss to the Cardinals. The Ravens, they had a better loss. So that's the only reason I'm going there. Lamar looks like he's balling out. But this is where it gets interesting and where I disagree with a lot of your guys' list. The Miami Dolphins, I know you guys had them past 5. This is still a team that put up 70 points last week and lost to my number 2 team, the Buffalo Bills. The Miami Dolphins deserve a lot more respect, but just because I don't think the Lions would beat them, and I don't know how in the hell the Chiefs would be able to keep up score with them, because the Chiefs' defense is nice, but so is Mike McDaniels in that wide receiver room. I just think that whole Miami is just still a beast, and I just think they had just an off week. I mean, Tua did struggle when you compare him with Josh Allen, but I still like what he's doing there. But I do have the Lions over the Chiefs. So the plain fact, Jameson Williams is back. Emmanuel Mosley is back. The Chiefs aren't getting this resurgence of talent they don't already have. I understand they got a resurgence in Chris Jones and Travis Kelce after week 2, but they almost lost to Zach Wilson, the Chiefs. Zach Wilson was playing like a madman. So you have to hold some accountability to that. After the Lions, like I said, I got the Dolphins. And with the Buffalo Bills and Philadelphia Eagles, Josh Allen is playing on a whole nother level than Jalen Hurts right now. I understand. I think people are really not saying that the Eagles are bad by any means. This is still a top 3 team in the NFL. But I think people are starting to get a little lost in the Philadelphia Eagles name. They lost both of their coordinators. This offensive line is great, but as a Lions fan, I don't trust that DeAndre Swift's going to be healthy for a full 17
That's fair.
weeks. And just this offense has no rhythm. That defensive front 7, great. Linebackers are okay. It's more so the D-line that's controlling it. Their linebackers are right, and that secondary is suspect. And I just think if you were to put Josh Allen against that defense, Sam already talked about that running game's at least a little bit decent. I think Josh Allen's exploiting that defense, and the Bills win that game, or the Eagles. And the Niners, unquestioned team. They have not a single hole in that roster. And when we talk about the Lions having depth, the Niners have even more depth behind that. Brock Purdy hasn't lost a regular season game yet. Not one. And that just speaks to how good this roster is. That's the clear list to me. I think the Buccaneers, to to Jeff's point, if you were to put Baker Mayfield and Trevor Lawrence on the field at the same time, 10 times out of 10, I don't care what the coaching situation, what it is, I'm going to at least now.
Give your take on that, because Booner is even chiming in. Are we just ignoring the fact that the Jags lost to the Texans last week? No, we're not.
No, but at the same time, like, okay, the Bills also lost to the Jets. Like, teams are going to get slapped in the face. The Houston Texans have had the Jaguars' numbers for years. The Texans have won 5 straight games against the Jaguars. Sometimes the team just has your number. It's a lot like the Lions and the Packers right now. And again, we're not going to be like, oh, that didn't happen, but that's why I have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 2. They weren't even on my top 10 list. They not shut down, but they limited Desmond Ridder offensively. They made that man look like a fool. Bijan did his thing, so the run defense looks suspect, but I still like them more than a Baker Mayfield-led team.
100%. And to look at Booner in the chat. And Booner, don't do this. This is, what are we doing? It's a power rankings, not a quarterback ranking. Yeah. Thank you, genius. We know that.
But one of these quarterbacks also has Josh Allen, an elite edge rusher off the side. Trayvon Walker stepped up. Andre Sisco on the back end. Tyson Campbell. The Jags' defense is loaded. It's just literally a matter of time till they get going. I understand they lost to the Texans, but a lot of the times a team, what they need is to get smacked in the face. And that's what I think happened. They're going to go and play against the Bills. I'm not saying they're going to win that game because right now the Bills are rolling. But to fall asleep on the Jaguars after 4 weeks, I think, especially after you watched them last year go on a run and make the playoffs, like, this offense is extremely talented. They have Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram as a tight end, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby's a nice power back. Like, this team has a ton of depth with their skill positions.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Booner says they're 2-2 with a loss to the Texans. Well, I guess the Bills should be 8th because they lost to the Jets.
Yeah.
Like, you know, actually, Booner, that should be your list. Put the Bills at 8th. But no, that's not how we value this. Is my opinion. So we talk about what I think. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are still a pretty good team. You can talk about the results. Okay, they lost to this team. Well, the Chiefs almost lost to the Jaguars, 17-9. So we're gonna put the Chiefs lower? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's all subjective. I like the Jags. We'll see how it trends, and it's a 1-win difference.
No, it's
like they act like the Jags are 0-4. Like, they're 2-2.
And like, if you want to sell your Trevor Lawrence stock, go right ahead. Go ahead and do it. Sell your Trevor Lawrence stock. I will sit here patiently, waiting for the chemistry between him and Calvin Ridley just to build and build and build. Travis Etienne to find his rhythm in this offense. Like, this offense is going to be just fine, and when it does, it's going to be a hard offense to stop. And this defense is the same exact way.
I mean, and Josh Allen, he's having the best season of his career. He's tied for the NFL lead in sacks with 6 in 4 games, which is unbelievable.
I think he's favored to win MVP at this point. Like, Josh Allen.
The other Josh Allen,
on the Bills.
Yes.
Like, I think he's probably in the lead for MVP. He jumped Tua, like, after last week's game.
He definitely jumped Tua, and that's kind of the thing that's always bothered me a little bit, because Tua Tagovailoa, he's obviously a very talented quarterback, but he also has Mike McDaniel, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and a running game that's all of a sudden resurgent with Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert. I like to see him get a little bit of humble pie, because he's not even in Josh Allen's stratosphere, and people like to disrespect Josh Allen and elevate Tua, which is absurd to me.
And there you have it. There's our top 10 teams. These are all power rankings week to week. So it's not like your number one team, the San Francisco 49ers, they're playing the best right now. Mm-hmm. And now a lot of it's subjective in how you value these teams. Like, are you going off head to head? Like, Seattle's, a couple spots lower than the Lions. I'm not saying Seattle's a bad team. There's just a lot of AFC teams that I think are good. Like for my list, for example, and could you put it up one more time so I can explain this? Because just to kind of go through NFC teams. Technically, I'm saying the Seattle Seahawks are what? You have the San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, Dallas, and then Seattle. Like, they're a top 5 team in the NFC. So it's not an insult to Seattle. I just think some AFC teams are better.
Sure.
It just looks like you see Seattle at 9. You're like, what? They're a top 5 team in the NFC. I wouldn't put them personally over the Cowboys, Lions, 49ers and Eagles. That's just me.
No, I would agree with that.
I like Seattle a lot, but I wouldn't put them over those teams.
Yeah, and that's why I had them at number 9 too. But if you want to play the whole they beat the Lions thing, so they should be higher than the Lions, I can't even necessarily kill you for that. It's just, I think the Lions are better. I think the Cowboys are better, and obviously the Niners and Eagles are the class of the NFC.
And let's go to break here. When we get back, we'll get to what's trending with Lucas. We have a very special guest joining us via phone call, boots on the ground, from a loyal member of the show who joins us Tuesdays. If you guys know who he is, you know. If you don't, you're about to find out. We'll go to break, and then when we come back, we'll get to that. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Randy Wise Automotive. Because, listen, you ever wanted to golf with celebrities like Braylon, D-Mac, so on and so forth? They'll treat you like a king over there. Go to Randy Wise Automotive, and you're entered with a chance to golf at any place you want to golf at. You get a tasty steak after. From our friends over at Fairway Packing. It's the place to be. Again, from Randy Wise Automotive. Check it out.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists, and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays to join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Let me tell you about our friends over at the Academy of Warren. I'm telling you right now, you sign your child up, you get tons of benefits for them. You talk about a learning street, athletic complex, which features basketball court, soccer field. You can even do 7-on-7 football, and of course a rock climbing wall. Who doesn't like rock climbing? Tons of
Neil Rule.
Of course. They don't have rock climbing in the neighborhood he's from.
No.
They pity on that.
Mm-hmm.
They shame people who do that.
They play pickleball instead.
Yeah, pickleball. That's fair. Tons of other features. Again, small classroom sizes, ideal learning for your child. All you got to do is enroll now, academywarren.net. You know what time it is.
Oh.
Time for What's Trending with Lucas. Lucas, what do you got for us?
What do I have for us? JB, you got him?
Oh, yeah, we got him.
Oh, hold on.
JD!
Wait, JD in the flesh. JD, how you feeling after last week's performance?
Man, I've just been coasting. Like, ever since I got back, crossed over them state lines, I've just been coasting. This has been a good week, man. This has been a real good week.
I want to ask you, JD, because now you're joining us. You were at the game, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
So your takeaways, man, like what are some things that stood out to you specifically in that game? Defense looked great. Offense was buzzing. Probably their most complete game so far this year. What are some of your takeaways as a Lions fan?
And this is kind of what I think is going to take us through the whole season. We took momentum when we had it, we held on to it, and we just did what we were supposed to do, man. Like, and of course, we already know who our stars are. We already know about Brian, and Laporta was catching what was coming to him. Saint was catching what was coming to him. And D-Mont he just chose to be on fucking savage mode that night, so he did his thing. But, yeah, when Jared threw his pick, like, from the stands, first of all, from the stands, when we walked down and we walked in the Lambeau and we saw the whole sea of blue, like, everybody was green, looked like they was about to shit on themselves, and we just looked at each other like, yeah, it's about to be that. Like, when Jared threw the pick, it wasn't even like, we was like, it is what it is. We know we got it, and we had it.
Yeah, and again, I can't imagine you being down there, JD, at Lambeau. Like, how pissed were the Packers fans all throughout that game? And they cleared out pretty quickly.
They clear. When I tell you, I've never like the fan base turned around, and the way Lambeau is, like, they all got to go exit out through like those big tunnels like that are like around the sections. So when it was just a wave of green leaving, but the stadium didn't feel empty because we were all there. That's what was crazy. Yeah. But I thought Green Bay fans was kind of gonna be some assholes, man. Them some nice, classy fans. But what it really was crazy. It was a surreal moment. It was a true passing of the torch. It was a lot of fans. You guys, any Lions fan that was there, I guarantee you, a Green Bay fan turned to him and shook his hand and said, "You guys deserve it." I had Green Bay turn it to me in second half. Yeah, great game. You guys deserve it. And walked around, lip poked out, tail between their legs, just sad.
They were defeated. Like, it sounded like they were defeated, JD.
They were defeated from the second quarter. Like, of course, because we were up when we were up, but it was like they knew. Like, okay, even when they scored, like, it was, it's bad when the stadium has a cap about the decimal meter on the fucking screen. Like, we were making the noise. They had it up at about 92, 93. That shit was like 78. Like, it was our house, man. I think Panay scored. Whoever called it Ford Field North, that's Ford Field North, man.
You know, JD, one thing that I noticed when I was watching the game, we were all watching it live here at the studio, is the Lions had a 27-3 lead at halftime. That's really hard to do, to have a 24-point halftime lead in a road divisional game. Can you describe the atmosphere of Lambeau Field at that moment when the Packers probably basically knew that at halftime the game was over?
Like, it was literally the same exact look as it was at the end of the game. So when they all went down there to get their dogs and their beers and stuff like that, like, everybody's head was low. I went to the bathroom at halftime. You could hear a fucking pin drop. Like, it was just bad. Now, I'm thinking about going to Chicago. So if it's like that, of course it's going to be like that in Chicago. But when it's like that in Chicago, I'm talking big shit. But the Packers fans,
I was going to say, you got to let the Bears fans have it.
Oh, yeah, fuck the Bears, man. Fuck the Bears. But I've always been fuck the Packers. Because it's just the way we lost to them so many times over the years. But it was, honestly, bro, it was a true passing of the torch moment. And everybody was pretty much like me. Like, yeah, we were talking our shit, but we weren't, like, bullying. Like, we was like, okay, yeah, we all know what it is. Yep, get the fuck up out of here, close the door on the way out. Well, no, we'll lock up when we leave. After we get done with Thursday night and the interviews and the Let's Go Lions chant, we'll make sure we locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, JD, I saw you put on your story, Teddy Two Gloves. You landed the two gloves.
Oh, man, I caught Teddy's two gloves, man. It was just a night, bro. I actually caught Teddy's two gloves, man. It's crazy. It was a great night, man. It was just a great night. I've never been more proud to be a Lions fan. I ain't gonna lie. The one thing I gotta give them they slack, but I gotta give it to them. I was fucking pissed that Brian Branch was on the.
Oh, we got him?
Other than that, man, football is football. Jared is gonna throw a pick, but he shook it off. Like, Jared, I'm so happy for Jared, man. Yeah. I love Jared so much.
Yeah, JD, I think your attitude right now kind of reflects on a lot of Lions fans. You said you're just happy to be a Lions fan right now. That statement, you saying it right now, man, it means a ton, bro. So, again, look at you. You went out to Green Bay, you went out to Lambeau, you watched a victory, not even a victory, an ass whooping, and then you got Teddy's gloves afterwards. Come on, man. Like, when's the last time you could say that? Go to Lambeau, kick some ass, and end up with Teddy's two gloves.
Like, the security guards were literally keeping us off of, like, off of the away tunnel, because like they came there, they linked arms, and it was like, you can't touch the rail. Like, they tried to dim down our love as much as they could, as much as they could. They were trying to stop people from going into the lower part of the bowl. It was like, if you don't have a ticket for row 10 through 0, you can't come down here. We're looking at them like, oh, fuck you. We walked around the other way, and we just went down. Like, they were just trying to suppress it as much as they could, because the security guards knew it was coming. It was like, okay, we know we might fuck around and lose, but don't let them take our fucking house over. And it was inevitable. When they saw all the blue, they were like, everybody in the green was just sitting there like, holy fuck, it's a lot of Lions out here. We was sitting there like, yeah.
JD, before we let you go, real quick, what are your expectations heading into Carolina this weekend? Heading into this weekend, Carolina's coming in Detroit.
Ass whooping. Good old fashioned. You know how when you do something you ain't got no business doing at school, and you know you got an ass whooping when you come home. Your mom didn't even talk to you when you were in the principal's office. She sees you come off the bus, you walking up the street, and she comes out to the sidewalk with a robe on. Don't even got no clothes on, got her house boots on, and the belt sitting over her arm with that one left foot tapping. And she just brings her index finger out and says, bring it, hurry up. You ain't never walked that slow coming up to the house. Hurry up, get in the house. Good old fashioned ass whooping. Zamo coming back. Brian Branch, hopefully he's healthy. Like, honestly, what I really want to see, because I got the gloves, so it's kind of a little bit of blood. I really want us to go out there and beat the dog shit out of the Panthers. And Dan says, you know what? Fuck it. Daddy, get on the field. And he just closes the game out.
Oh my, JD, man.
Couple Antoine Green touchdowns. We get Brock one. Just throw it around there. Get up to 50 piece. Let's make up for that Seattle game. That's what I really want. Let's make up for that Seattle game.
No doubt. JD, we appreciate you, man. We need you back next Nukes Tuesday to give us the breakdown of the game, man. But until then, man, we appreciate you. You're the GOAT. You're the actual GOAT.
I appreciate y'all boys, man. Y'all have a great morning, man.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you, JD.
There you go,
Thanks, JD.
JD, the you know what, very valued member of the Morning Woodward show, who calls in, kind of gives us his breakdown. Wow, the comparison there to knowing you're getting your ass whooped, it was like spot on.
Yeah, you're like, oh, everybody knows that feeling.
Like your mom comes out the house with the robe on and.
I'm getting flashbacks right now.
Shit, like
not good. Not good.
It's like you know it's coming. It's not like if, it's when, and you're like, oh shit. Like that's like Bryce Young this week. He's like, oh god, I got to deal with those guys, man. Those guys who got after Love 5 times last week. Shout out to JD. We'll go to break when we come back. We'll get to mailbag and much more. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Premier Pet.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Jeff.
You got a pet? Well, the Panthers are about to be the Lions' pet this week, dog walking them. But let me tell you about Premier Pet. If you got a pet, it doesn't matter, cat, dog. Free local delivery within 10 miles of any location, courtesy of our friends at Premier Pet Supply. You can see the locations, tons of locations, probably one near you. Family owned and operated in Michigan since 1992. Again, check it out. Our friends over at Premier Pet Supply.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Woodward Sports own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
How would you like to win a 100K Vegas getaway and live it up in a city that never sleeps with your closest friends? It's the Centron Energy Drink It and Live It sweepstakes. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter for your chance to win the 100K Vegas getaway at drinkcentron.com/Vegas and buy Centron at your local Myers store. It's Centron, the healthier energy drink with great taste and a choice of people who desire to look good, feel great, and be the best version of themselves. Check them out today at centron.com/Vegas.
It's mailbag time. Let's get to some questions. And to start us off here, I love this question because I was going to discuss this today. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow, but Dan Wood says mailbag. Did you guys see the list of 5 teams that Caleb Williams says he's played for? The rest of the league, he'll go back to college and keep making money. Vikings being on the list, trade Cousins now. And the 5 teams, just to give people context, Cowboys, Raiders, Vikings, Giants, and 49ers. Interesting.
No,
why are the Vikings on that list?
Think about how Giants are feeling right now.
The Giants are like...
You got 4 more years of Danny Dimes.
I would draft Caleb Williams. God. And just cut Daniel. And eat the $40 million.
You know, Vikings need to start tanking if they really want Caleb Williams a lot more. Tank and then trade Kirk Cousins, and boom, there you go. Caleb Williams is yours.
Yeah, but man, I don't want Caleb Williams in the NFC North.
I know.
That's like the next coming of Aaron Rodgers. Like that's a guy who's going to haunt you for 15 years.
We'll see. Okay, it's just kind of funny how NIL changes things. That Caleb Williams, a list of 5 teams. So a lot of these teams essentially could be tanking for no reason, basically to pick whoever's the second best.
Yeah, the Bears aren't he said no thanks to the Bears.
I mean, why would you? The Bears haven't had a good quarterback since the 40s. Sid Luckman.
Ooh.
Do you remember the Sid Luckman highlights? Give me your favorite Sid Luckman highlight, everybody.
And you're not joining the Cardinals. I'll tell you that. Griffin says, is Caleb like that? Yeah, he is, Griffin. He is like that. He is. If he was at MSU, Griffin, you'd be slobbing the dude. I mean, let's be real here. Yeah, just being honest. Let's see. Let's read some of these comments here. Don beats mailbag. Over-under for J-Mo. Catches this week, 4.5. Under. He's not getting 5 catches his debut. I think they'll get like 30 snaps maybe. Like he won't get a ton of snaps. I could see 2 to 3 catches maybe.
Yeah, I would say under. I definitely would like to see 1 though. Like please give me at least 1.
What if it's like a 1 yard, like 3 yard catch? Would you still be okay with it? If he 1 target, 1 catch, 3 yards. You okay with it?
I am okay with it as long as I don't have to hear the next day how great he played.
Okay.
That's all.
That's fair.
Fair. Let's see. Who farted? Mailbag. Have you watched any of the Red Wings preseason games? They played 3 nights in a row starting tonight. They look great so far. I checked out the first game against Pittsburgh, but I have not kept up lately. But I am excited for the Red Wings, man. I really am. That's another team that we're going to be in more in depth as the season starts. I know Pistons are starting up soon, too. We'll see. Red Wings are going to be more. There's going to be more to talk about with the Red Wings. Too far to your point there. Even though I'm a big Pistons fan, love basketball. It's my first love. But I'm just being real here. We'll definitely talk more Red Wings. Shout out to Mike G, by the way, the man, the myth, the legend. Let's see. Mailbag here, Jesse. Other day, Sam said it's only fair to him to make fun of MSU football right now. Correct? If that's true, then MSU can always say Tuck 2-1 versus Jim. Those are stats.
I mean, congratulations. Are you really gonna prop up Mel Tucker as one of your coaches? I mean, 1 good season because of Kenneth Walker, the COVID year, and then the disaster that was last year. I get it. Michigan State has done a lot better in the rivalry recently than a lot of people, even me as a Michigan fan, would care to admit. But right now, I mean, we're talking about Mel Tucker. He didn't, in the grand scheme of things, do anything at your school, and he kind of left in disgrace. Whether he should have or shouldn't have, that's another story for another day. But he still did some things that he shouldn't have been doing as a head coach. So feel free. I would actually love it if you guys just held up Mel Tucker in high esteem. Be my guest, Jesse Adams. Be my guest.
I love this comment too, and I'll ask this one. Herb Nash, great question. Mailbag. Which division is worse, NFC North or NFC South, and which overall NFL division is the worst? The question between the NFC North and the NFC South, I think quarterback, if you're talking quarterback, I would say the NFC South right now. But like team, I kind of like the NFC South as a team. Like the Saints are the 3rd best team in their division, and like they're better than
and the
Falcons
Vikings did beat the Packers.
So like, you know what I mean? But quarterback, like Desmond Ridder. Okay, Baker.
There's so much talent in the NFC North, though. It doesn't make sense. Like Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones.
Yeah, there's more marquee players.
Like, there's just so many players that it doesn't make sense how all these teams outside the line, they're just mad.
I think record, you'd say NFC North, but I'll go NFC South. I think the NFC North, I like the bottom. Like the Vikings have 1 win, but they would beat probably like 2 of the 4 teams in the NFC South. That's just my thinking. It's close, though. They're both not great.
No, and a team like the Bears, I think some people, myself included, thought that they were going to be improved. They're certainly not. The Vikings, I know I didn't think they were going to be any good, but some people, if you had them winning 7 or 8 games, I'm not going to kill you for it, and it looks like they're going to tank as well. But the same thing in the NFC South. Did anybody think the Carolina Panthers were going to be like a 3-win football team? Some people had them winning that division, and they've absolutely tanked.
I was debating between them and the Falcons for winning the division. I was like, which one is it going to be? Bryce Young could possibly be a Rookie of the Year. Nope.
Yeah, but they're both pretty bad. But on the other end, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are better than anybody thought that they were going to be, at least so far.
What about this question to close us out? Shad, mailbag. Can Sam explain why he keeps using Kelsey and Jones being out as an excuse to have Casey over the Lions?
Oh my God, Shad.
Shad!
Travis Kelce and Chris Jones are the 2nd and 3rd best player on the Kansas City Chiefs, and they were out for that game, and the Detroit Lions beat them by 1 point. I'm saying it very, very calm. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL right now, although I'm sure you would already probably say it's Sam Laporta. And Chris Jones is the best defensive tackle in the NFL right now. So, shot. I'm not taking a shot. I have the Lions at 5. I have the Lions at 5. What the fuck? Oh my God, dude!
I'm proud of you for breathing there, Flannel.
Yeah.
You could see you really
Yes.
You got your composure.
Yes.
You got your. You're trying not to.
Sam
Sam
indulged in some Dispo products. You know, he's he's too chill right now.
I'm
no
good.
way. There's no way you would have.
Whenever Sam's heated, he goes, "I'm good. I'm always good. I'm good."
Dan Wood says, "Just please don't cup the microphone, please."
Yeah, no, I was debating. I was debating, but like, Shad, are you really going to tell me that didn't play a role in why the Lions beat the Chiefs? I'm not saying there should be an asterisk. I'm just saying that, like, Travis Kelce and Chris Jones are the second and third best. Travis Kelce and Chris Jones are better NFL players than any player that is currently on the Detroit Lions. Fact, yes. Fact. Argue it. I'm sure you will.
I don't know. Lee McNeil's kind of breaking.
Oh, Lee McNeil. Oh, wait. I can't wait for some of you people to be like, Penny Sewell's already better than those.
Yo, Isaiah Buggs.
He's bigger than Chris Jones.
I love that. Shot says, but Mosley didn't play. All right, that'll be
J-Mo.
Hey, Chuck. Wait, is Chuck Brewer saying like Sam wanted Juwan Howard fired last year? Yes, I did, and I still want him fired. And I think that you would probably agree with me on that one. Juwan Howard blows.
Yeah, well, you've been consistent with that.
Yes.
But guess what? The people have been consistent showing support to the morning show. So I appreciate you guys for joining us this morning. Again, another great show. Had a lot of fun today. We'll break more down, specifically the Lions game against the Panthers later in the week. We'll bring up some other interesting subjects that kind of got planned later this week as well. But until tomorrow, Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, we got our guy, JB, holding it down in the audio booth, the GOAT, as many refer to him as.
Lucas Klotz, the GOAT.
And then we got Lucas Klotz, the man, the myth, the legend, holding it down for the 419, as you would say.
Shout out.
Until tomorrow, guys. Appreciate you.